What's up everyone, April Dunnam here, back at you this week for another Template Tuesday video. I want to give a shout out to Joseph who gave me the idea for this Template Tuesday video. I'm going to be demoing my lost and found solution. But first, here's the intro. As always, let's start by walking through the app. Here we have the landing screen. This is where you'll see all of the different lost and found items that are currently unclaimed. You'll see the name of the item, who reported it, and when they reported it, along with the picture of the item. If you click this information icon, here you'll be taken to the screen to give you details about this item, including a detailed description and who to contact to claim the item. From here, you can either start a Teams chat with the person by clicking this link, or you can send an email to the person asking for more information and to claim your item that way. So the process would be you would reach out to the person that reported the item as found and do some verification via chat with that person that this is your item. And then that person could go in to the app themselves and go to the My Stuff screen that we see right here. They could find the item. So this screen in particular is separated out by claimed and unclaimed. So these are all the items that I have logged, either that I've lost or that I've found, which are unclaimed. The claim tab is going to show me the items that someone else has already claimed that I found. So if someone reached out to me and said that this is their tiger and they have claimed that, I can click on the Did Someone Claim This option. I can track who claimed the tiger and leave any notes. Then just mark that as claimed, and that will fall off of the list on the home page, and the process can just keep repeating. The new screen is where you would go to report a new item that you've lost or found. So you'd first choose, is this something that you're reporting that you lost or something that you found for someone? And depending on which option you choose, you notice if you choose found, you have an option to put in the item, the description, tag a category that it belongs to, and a location where you found the item. But if you choose lost, you have the item, description, category, and then you also have the option to offer a reward. So let's just report something found. I'll give this item a description and a name, tag it with the category. I can say that I found it in the break room. And then I also have the ability to upload a photo. So I can click upload a photo. It'll take me to this browse screen, and then I can go and upload a picture and post this item. So behind the scenes, a flow is going to kick off and add that picture and tag it to the appropriate item in the background. So you see there's our printer with the picture showing up on our lost and found homepage. The home screen also has some filtering capabilities. So if I click this filter cylinder, I can filter by category. So if I know I'm looking for something that's booking games, for example, I can click that category, apply that filter, and it will filter the list of items for me. Then I can always select reset filters to clear that and show all lost and found items. So fairly straightforward use case. Now let's dive into the app and take a look at some of the things that we can learn from it. The first thing we'll take a look at is this homepage and the gallery screen, because you'll see that the formatting is different between each row in the gallery. The first row, for example, the image is on the right, but then the second row is on the left, and it keeps repeating that pattern. So we'll take a look at how we did that. We'll take a look at the filter screen and some of those details. We'll take a look at the gallery first. For the lost and found homepage, I went in and added a vertical gallery using this layout. And for the image, I just went in and did some rounding of the corners using the border radius property. I've set that to 80, so it will appear as a circular image instead of a square image. I added some additional properties, so that gallery option gives us a image, title, and subtitle. So I've used the title and subtitle to pull in the title of the image and this reported by text. And then I just added an additional image control, which I pointed to the Office 365 users connector, and I'm using the user photo method to pass in the reported by field, which is a person or group field in my SharePoint list, to show the image of the person, and then I'm showing their name to the right of that in a label. And then I just have one more label where I'm pulling in the date reported, and I'm using the date time format of long date to format that like we're seeing here on the screen. And then I've added a icon There's an icon in here called the information icon. So I've added one of those in here, and all that's going to do is give us a way to navigate to the detail screen. So we're going to use a global variable to set the selected item in this gallery to that variable so that we can then use this on the detail screen, which we see here. So the image, for example, that's on this detail screen is pointing to the selected item variable that we set in the previous screen. And so are all the underlying details. So the notes, the item, and the person information. Now going back to this gallery, let's see how we did this staggered approach. It's actually a little bit more complex than it seems. First, we need to take a look at the app Onstart. So here we're doing some things like setting a variable to the current user, and we're setting some categories to be used in our filter, which we'll look at here later. But to handle the staggering effect, first what we're going to do is create a local collection of the items that we want to show in this gallery. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm creating a collection called unclaimed items because I'm going to pre-filter out and only show the items from this list that aren't claimed. So I'm using the sort by columns function and the filter on my lost and found SharePoint list where the claim status value equals unclaimed, and I'm sorting that by the date reported to get the newest to oldest. Once I have that, I'm going to do a for all. For all is what lets us loop through a collection of items. So I'm telling the for all to loop through my unclaimed items, and I want to create another collection called unclaimed items alternative rows. Because what I'm wanting to do here is add a new column to this data source called row number so that I can append a row ID to these items. And that's what's going to let me tell how to stagger every other item in the gallery like you're seeing. Now you might be wondering, well, why wouldn't you just use the built-in ID field from your SharePoint list and handle the alternating styles that way? Well, that's because that ID field, depending on how you have the data pulled with your filters, you could have, say, 2 items back to back that are even numbers or 2 odd numbers. So that's not going to be consistent to allow you to get a staggered effect like that. So by going in and adding our own column to this collection, that will ensure that the numbers are always odd, even, so that we can properly do this. So that's all that we're doing here. We're using the last first in to sort these and adding in that row number column. Once we have that, we can then bind our gallery to this unclaimed items alternative rows collection, which you see is what we're doing here. And we'll just combine that with first a check to see if the category is blank, because if there's no category selected in the filter, then that means we want to show all items. So we're just going to sort our unclaimed items alternative rows collection. And there's a search box, so we're just going to say where the title starts with whatever's in the search box, and we're sorting by that row number so that we can be assured that they're in the correct order. If there is a category selected, then our filter formula for the items needs to take that into account. So we have an and category.value equals whatever the selected category is. So now that we know we have the alternative rows, and let me just show you what that looks like. So I'm just going to append an item here. Let's just append this item dot row number. So you can see it's giving us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all in sequential order so that we can stagger these. And once we have that, then in the gallery itself and the individual items, we're going to adjust the X coordinates. So starting with this title label, let's take a look at its X coordinate. And you see that we're having an if statement and we're using the mod function, and we're going to get this item's row number and do a divisor of 2 on that. We're going to say if that is equal to 0, then I want the X value of this to be the parent width divided by 2.5. Otherwise, I want it to be the parent width divided by 20. So it's either going to be flush kind of to the left here, or it's going to be off farther to the right based off if it's an odd or an even number in this sequence. And we're just repeating this for each of these different X properties of these labels. For the reported by, you see that I don't have that function. I'm just going to say inherit the X coordinate of whatever this title is, because I know I want it to always be aligned with what this is. the x-coordinate formula is simple in that case. I can just say, make it to be whatever this is. So if I were to move this manually, this would move along with it. And I did the same thing with the x-coordinate of the image and of the date field, if we take a look at that also. For the image, if we look at its x-coordinate, and you see we're just doing that same mod function for the image, just setting that x-coordinate either 30, meaning it would be closer to this area, the left area, or 450, meaning it would be closer to the right, depending on this mod of 2 that we have. So that's one way to get this staggered effect. Now obviously, since we're having to use a local collection, you'll need to be mindful of delegation in this case. So since we're using SharePoint, if we get over that 2,000 records in the list, this approach wouldn't be the best to get that staggered effect. But I don't anticipate this lost and found to ever have that many items at one time, so this approach isn't bad. The other thing going on in the background of this is when we go through the process of adding a new item, we have the ability to upload a photo. So one of the other things you'll get with this template is a flow that's included, which helps you to take images from your Power App and upload those to a SharePoint document library. So you'll get this lost and found image flow along with it, which is kicked off from PowerApps, and it's using the parse JSON function. So we're going to pass it in from PowerApps to JSON object, and we will loop through that and go create a file in a SharePoint document library, and we're going to update the lost and found item with a link to that image. So from the PowerApps side, when we click post, you'll see that here we are actually calling that flow, and we're passing it the images to upload, and we're going to use the JSON function within PowerApps, pass it in our images, we'll reference that in our run, and then we're just passing it in the item ID and title so that we can update that item in the SharePoint list. And how we're getting that pics information, the image that we uploaded, to pass into this JSON function is if we look at our image control that we added here. This is if you go to media, there's an add picture control, and that's what we're using. In that you had this add media button property. And if you go to its onSelect, what you'll want to do is create a collection. So when you select that to add an image, we're creating a collection called pics, and that will include the uploaded image and a name. So we're just going to use the rand function to get a randomly generated number for this so that it's unique. And we're just going to hardcode in .jpeg for that so that we have the name and the actual image itself in the collection to pass back into Flow. Beyond that, there's nothing too crazy going on with this template. The filter screen, so instead of having the filters on the page itself, just to save some screen real estate, I'm navigating to a different screen that just has our filter information on it. So what I've did is I've surfaced up a gallery, and you might have noticed that these items for the gallery were being set in our app Onstart. We're setting a global variable called categories and hard coding those category options there. So I'm just pointing the items property to that. This category collection is being used in two places. So this gallery, but then also in the new item found something screen for this drop down. And you'll notice the drop down, we have a placeholder for select category, and then you can choose the options. So we had hard coded that here in the Onstart as an option. So in our filter screen, in the items property, you'll see we're just filtering out to not include the select category option and only show the actual valid categories. We also have a search bar so that we can search for items in there. And then when we click apply filters, it's just going to navigate us back to the home page. And then our filters will be applied at that level once we select an item from there and enter in a search value. So I'm kind of playing this out. If I come in here, select electronics and computer and apply, you'll see it filters that, and it's letting us know here via a label which category we have selected. And then the reset filters, this is just a label, but on its onSelect, we're just going to reset the selected category variable and reset the search box so that this gallery shows all the items again. Because back on the filter, when we select one of these categories with this icon property, we're setting a global variable called selected category to handle that. And the last little bit of functionality that I'll show here is on the mark as found screen. So you notice as I start typing someone's name, options show up below that. I'll just show you how that's done real quick. This is just an input box, and below I have a gallery. And I'm utilizing the Office 365 Users Connector in the Search User property. And for the search term, I'm binding that to whatever I have typed into this text field. So it kind of gives me a handmade people picker. So as I start typing in a value, it's going to filter that list and I can select the person from that gallery and have a homegrown people picker option. That's all that I had for you today. I will upload this solution to GitHub and include a link to it in the video notes. If you have any ideas for other templates that you would like to see, please drop me a note in the video comments and let me know, and I would be happy to incorporate that into a future Template Tuesday video. As always, if you found this helpful, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.